Those were the first words anyone said about Ilera. She wasn't like other beings, not even among her kind. The Zifiri, a race known for their grace, intellect, and detachment from all things emotional. They were watchers, engineers of stars, but not friends. Not lovers. Ilera made that even clearer. She was brilliant, cold, and untouchable, stationed on Vetra 9, a floating research station orbiting a dying star. There, the Zifiri conducted their work, harvesting light, manipulating gravity, and turning stars into engines of creation. Humans weren't allowed near Vetro 9. Humans Ilera believed were messy. Then he arrived. His name was Elias Cross, a maintenance pilot from Earth sent to Vetra 9 when a sudden meteor strike damaged the station's infrastructure. Humans weren't trusted on Zifiri facilities, but Vetra 9 was in trouble, and humans were experts at patching things up when they broke. Elias was stubborn, charming, and infuriatingly warm, the exact opposite of everything Ilera respected. "You shouldn't be here," she said the first time they met, her voice like frozen glass. Elias just grinned, running a hand through his unruly black hair. "Trust me, I don't want to be. Your people called for help." "I didn't call for help," Ilera replied icily, her silver eyes narrowing. "Well," Elias said with a shrug, "I'm here anyway." Ilera avoided him at first. She kept to her station, surrounded by holographic star maps and equations so vast they would burn the human mind. She didn't need people, especially a human. She didn't understand them. Humans laughed too loudly, felt too deeply, and didn't know when to leave well enough alone. But Elias wouldn't stay in the corner like a quiet shadow. "Why are you always here?" Ilera demanded one day, finding him tinkering with a damaged console in her lab. "Because your tech's a mess," Elias said, wiping grease from his hands. "Whoever designed this has no idea what user-friendly means." "That's because it wasn't designed for you," she shot back, her silver hair shimmering as she turned away. "Maybe not, but it's keeping your station from falling apart," he replied with a grin. Days turned into weeks. Against her will, Ilera began to notice him. How he hummed softly when he worked, how his hands moved with surprising gentleness when repairing something delicate. He spoke to the station like it could hear him, muttering encouragements as though coaxing life back into machines. And he spoke to her. "What's it like, turning stars into fuel?" he asked one evening, leaning against a railing as they watched the dying star through the viewport. Ilera hesitated, unaccustomed to questions like this. "It's elegant," she admitted softly. "We give stars purpose, a way to endure, even when their time is gone." "That's beautiful," Elias said, his voice quiet. Ilera turned to look at him, surprised. No one had ever called her work beautiful. The station's repairs progressed, but Ilera found herself distracted. She noticed how Elias's laughter filled the empty halls, how his warmth lingered, even after he left her room. She hated the way it unsettled her. Zifiri weren't supposed to care. Caring made things fragile, and Ilera had spent her life building walls against that very thing. One night, she found Elias alone in the observation deck, staring at the dying star. "Why do you smile so much?" she asked bluntly. Elias turned, raising an eyebrow. "Why wouldn't I?" "Because everything fades," Ilera said, her voice bitter. "This star, this station, you. All of it will end." Elias studied her for a long moment, then said, "Yeah, but that's why it matters." Ilera blinked. "What?" "Things are precious because they don't last forever," he said. "You have to hold on to them while you can." Her breath caught, and for the first time in her life, Ilera felt small, like a single point of light in an endless void. The next morning, alarms blared across Vetra 9. The star they orbited had destabilized. Its core was collapsing faster than predicted, and the station's gravitational tethers were failing. Evacuate, Ilera ordered her team, her calm veneer cracking as the station groaned beneath them. Elias found her at the main console, her hands dancing over holographic controls as she rerouted power. "What are you doing?" he shouted over the roar of collapsing metal. "I can stabilize it," she said, sweat beading on her brow. "If I divert the power, I can—" "No!" Elias grabbed her arm. "You'll die." She froze, staring at him. "This is my purpose. I don't need your concern." His eyes blazed with fury. "Well, I need you, and I'm not leaving you behind." Ilera's heart lurched. No one had ever said that to her before. No one had ever needed her. The station couldn't be saved. Elias dragged her to the emergency pods as explosions rocked the facility, sending shards of light and metal into the void. "Let me go," she shouted. "Not a chance." Elias yelled back, pushing her into the pod. The door hissed shut, sealing them both inside. Through the viewport, Ilera watched Vetra 9 fall, swallowed by the star's dying light. She turned to Elias, shaking with rage and grief. "Why did you do that?" He met her gaze, his voice gentle. "Because I care about you." Ilera opened her mouth to argue, but the words caught in her throat. For the first time, she realized the truth: she cared about him, too. They drifted in silence for hours, watching the remnants of the star fade into the void. Finally, Ilera spoke. "You confuse me," she admitted. "I don't like people." Elias smirked. "I noticed." She looked at him, her silver eyes softening. "But I care about you." Elias's smile faded, replaced by something far deeper. "You don't have to say it if it's hard. Just show me." Ilera reached out hesitantly, taking his hand in hers. It was warm, steady, and it grounded her in a way nothing ever had. "This is ridiculous," she muttered, but there was a hint of a smile on her lips. Elias chuckled. "Welcome to being human." "I'm not human," she reminded him. "No," Elias said softly, looking at her. "You're so much more." Years later, the people of Earth would speak of the woman who saved dying stars, the Zifari engineer who stood at humanity's side, with a human man who refused to let her fade alone. And in their quiet home on a little moon far from war and collapsing suns, Ilera would sometimes whisper to Elias as he drifted to sleep, "I didn't like people at all until you."